Hi, it's John and welcome to the channel. It is 2:52 a.m. I swear to God, there's the time on my watch. Beware the Ides of March. It is March the 15th, Saturday, with the big blue mug of coffee. And what the hell am I doing up at 2:52 a.m.? Generally, I sleep at least until 3 o'clock. Why am I sitting in front of this camera right now? Well, because I woke up bothered by something this morning, a little bit incensed. Pissed off. I'm not the angry old man. I've said that here before, but I needed to get this done early this morning. If you could share this, I'd appreciate it. Make sure you tag Pierre Poilievre in it, okay? Because I think that's important. So I'm going to start off by telling you a fable. All right. Now, some of you are going to get the reference right off the bat. So there's these two politicians, okay, just before an election. Politician number one has been fighting against a specific tax for many, many years. In fact, his phrase has been axe the tax. Politician number two has been for this tax for years, has encouraged it to be higher, and has said that this tax has been too low. But just as an election campaign is about to start, politician number two decides to get rid of the tax. And politician number one says to politician number two, "Why are you getting rid of this tax now? You've been for it for years." And politician number two says, "Because it's not good for taxpayers." So they go through all the way through the election campaign, and at the end of the election campaign, politician number two, he raises the tax back up after winning the election. And politician number one says to politician number two, "You said that this tax wasn't good for taxpayers. Why are you raising the tax once again?" And politician number two says, "Because it's in my nature." Now, some of you will know that that is the fable of the fox and the scorpion, but that is Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney, and you get what I'm talking about here. I saw something yesterday that absolutely pissed me off, and here it is right here. It's a 5-second clip. So that's the new Prime Minister of Canada, not my Prime Minister, signing away the consumer carbon tax yesterday. Do you know what a Potemkin village is? It's on the screen. A Potemkin village refers to a construction or situation that is designed to create a deceptive facade, making things appear better than they actually are. And that's what yesterday was when he signed away the consumer carbon tax. By the way, Carney is the scorpion in my story off the top of this video this morning. So I go to the National Post this morning. Carney cuts carbon tax rate to zero, neutralizing unpopular policy before possible campaign. The gesture marked a stark departure from how Canadian leaders have typically done business and was reminiscent of a scene Canadians are most used to seeing south of the border. And from that article, Carney invited cameras into the cabinet room on Parliament Hill Friday afternoon to watch him sign a document zeroing out the tax rate. The gesture marked a stark departure from how Canadian leaders have typically done business in the past and was reminiscent of a scene Canadians are most used to seeing south of the border. U.S. President Donald Trump routinely invites media into the Oval Office to watch him sign executive orders. So what do they say? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery? Well, Mark Carney, he was flattering Donald Trump yesterday by doing that, but that was a Potemkin village, folks. It was a facade. I'm going to get to Pierre Poilievre in just a moment. But I want to talk about Mr. Poilievre. Remember when Mr. Poilievre last summer tried to save you a little bit of money and suggested maybe we could get rid of the carbon tax over the summertime because it was driving up gas prices? And a lunatic named Mark Holland stood up in the House of Commons and said this.
You can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks, and the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet, right? Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn.
That absolute ass Mark Holland yesterday mocking Pierre Poilievre for trying to save you a little bit of money. Sticking the finger in the eye of Canadian taxpayers who've been abused by this tax for year after year after year after year after year after year. And you know what's even worse? There were people who believe what Carney did yesterday is what he actually wanted to do. It was a facade. What did Plato say? Those who are too smart to engage in politics are punished by being governed by those who are dumber. People are not paying attention. They think the liberals are their savior, and they're not. And getting to Pierre Poilievre, this is what he tweets. Check this out. Carbon tax Carney, boy is that getting boring, is pausing the carbon tax until after the election when he no longer needs your vote, but still needs your money. He's flip-flopping on his beliefs to trick Canadians into a fourth Liberal government. If Carney wins, Canada loses. I like if Carney wins, Canada loses, but Mr. Poilievre, for God's sakes, I'm going over old ground. I only was here about a week ago, but for God's sakes, the only reason the tax is down is because of you. Take credit for it. For God's sakes, this is a big win for you. The tax is gone because of you. Axe the tax. They wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. Walk out in front of the cameras, be condescending as hell. Ladies and gentlemen, I and the Conservative Party of Canada would like to take credit for what Mr. Carney did yesterday by axing the tax. After 2 years of telling the government to get rid of this punishing tax, they finally did what we said. We would like to take credit for this because we have finally achieved our goal. And then tell people what Carney's going to do after the next election. And it's going to be worse. For God's sakes, Mr. Poilievre, take credit for this. You need to take credit for a lot of the things you've done over the years. The Liberals finally started addressing car theft because of you. They finally started addressing immigration because of you. They finally started talking about housing costs because of you. Get off the defensive, get on the offensive. Stop being negative and start being positive with people. You did this carbon tax thing, Mr. Poilievre. For God's sakes, take credit for it. And I'm sorry for going over this again. I only did it about a week ago, but it's even more crucial that you do it now and do it today. Stop being so damn negative. Folks, we're that far away from total destruction if this Liberal Party wins again. We're going to have an election sometime before November, and you saw them all laughing in the background yesterday. They're in total control here.
Well, they certainly should expect to go to the polls before November, The
country's out of control. Carney's off to Europe instead of talking to Donald Trump. They need the Trump thing to keep going on. So the punishment's going to continue for months. They don't want that to end. But people are too stupid to engage in politics in this country and are going to vote Liberal. Tell me what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe. Let's get to 14,000 by the end of the weekend. That would be awesome. Turn on the notifications. Please share this. Tag Pierre Poilievre in this. He needs to take credit. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.